Mr. Bradford is Carlin Peterson.
I'm Brad Bradford, St. Petersburg, Florida, one of the homeless street advocates. I want to thank you for having this meeting today, Commissioners, Mr. Spratt. It's not often that the street homeless actually get to show up at a public hearing and have their voice heard. The truth is that we're dealing with a complex solution. It's going to require healing and dialoguing. You've started that process. We want to thank you. Keeping our eye on the ball seems to be the major difficulty in the complexity of this issue. For 2.5 years, we've been arguing as street homeless that our needs, our funding sources, our representation is vastly different than those that are already in shelters, that are in structural facilities. Basically, what it comes down to is that there is two camps out there philosophically. There's the compassionate group that want to do things that provide constructive choices, and then there's the group that believes the majority of the homeless are vagrants. And they have their point of view. And to a certain extent, there are vagrants in our community. But I tend to believe that the compassionate approach and that people basically do want to help themselves up if they can have constructive choices. So what they need is constructive and productive choices. Until recently, as of yesterday, we didn't even really have good numbers on who the street homeless were. The papers have almost quoted religiously that there was 3,000 to 4,000 to 5,000 people sleeping on the streets. That was a misinterpretation on their part from the numbers that were given them by the PCCH. So now that we finally have some strong numbers and real numbers, what our point of view from the street homeless is, listen, let's get down to the realities. Let's understand these two subsets of getting emergency beds and program beds. And then let's focus on the differences and how we fill those in. And if you do that, you'll find out that in these complex problems that require lots of money, going slower makes a lot more sense. So what we advocate for is smaller is wiser. We like working with the smaller service providers. We like working with the established agencies. We like adding on to their capability. So a central intake doesn't appeal to us at all, especially if we're going to go to a revolving door from 49th Street and then go 100 yards over to another facility in the same area. Psychologically, it doesn't work. It might work from an economy of scale standpoint, but it certainly doesn't work from the compassionate standpoint. The other thing that we'd like to say is that there's some really good things that are going on. We'd like to support those types of good things. The coalition has now got money coming through a trust fund. We definitely support the use of the trust fund for first housing and for emergency shelters. Just remember, again, what I said earlier. There is no COC, Continuum of Care funding vehicle for emergency shelter beds. You fight for that dollar. You can talk to Beth Eschenfelder, Rhonda Abbott, Sarah Snyder. They'll tell you there's no money available out there. Single adults, single males and females on the street are the last people to get services. Again, remember, the vagrancy approach would like you to go down the road of ordinances and fighting civil liberty battles. The compassionate approach would like you to start out smaller, take your time, and do it, where it makes sense. And please include the homeless and the street homeless all the way. Thank you.
Mr. Bradford, thank you for being here today. Appreciate it very much.